Hey guys, Victor here, coming to you with another deck profile, and for today's video we're going to be doing an updated Lightsworn Tearlament deck profile, and this will be post Rage of the Abyss. So what that basically means is that we're pretty much just going to be preparing for Full Loss for the most part, just because, let's be real, that card just kind of demolishes us. So with that in mind, let's just jump straight into it. As always, we're going to be starting off with the monster lineup first, so we're of course going to be playing 3 Tearlaments Reinoheart. Doesn't matter if it's a pure Tearlament deck or some kind of mishmash variant like this one, you pretty much just always want to play 3 because the entire deck quite literally revolves around this card being able to activate its effects and just open up so many different plays, right? You want a mill, you send Tear Cash. You want a fusion, you send any of your fusioners. You need to exceed summon, sure, you can make a Bahamut Shark to go into Toadally awesome for a potential Omni Negate, or just any of your other rank 4s if you happen to play them. If you need Link Fodder, this card's perfect. Like, this card really just does open up so many different avenues for this deck to take that you have to play 3 of it. And for the other 3 of Tier Monster, we're playing 3 Tearlaments Kashtira. Another phenomenal consistency piece, as when it's normal or special summon, you get to mill 3 cards, and then when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to mill 2 more cards. So 1 card being a potential mill 5 is always going to be greatly appreciated. And that's it for the 3 of Tier Monsters. And then for the 1 ofs, play the 1 of Merrli, the 1 of Havnis, and the 1 of Scheiren. If we could play more, we would, but we can't, so we won't. Then for cards that boost the tier engine but aren't specifically Tearlament cards, we're playing 2 Kashtira Fenrir. So Fenrir has finally made its way back into this specific variant of the deck, and I feel like it does help quite a bit. Just like, you know, Fenrir being Fenrir as you special summon it, and then just the moment it hits the field, it puts pressure on your opponent to deal with it. Otherwise, they may or may not lose a key card face down, which in most cases means they're going to lose it permanently. And then not only that, but it's a consistency boost, right? Because when this once per turn during your main phase, you can activate this effect to add any Kashtira monster from your deck to your hand, so it can add itself, or you can add Tearlaments Kashtira to try and mill 3. So yeah, this card, on top of like just being like an imposing presence, does help boost your consistency as well. And then for the other 2 of that helps boost our tier engine, we're playing 2 Beastking of the Swamp. This is always just going to be in here to help us make Tearlaments Rokolos, just because we did lose Appaloosa, so we need some kind of way to help us beat Nibiru, and Rokolos is just that card, you know, honestly. And then like it does get like other uses as well, right? So it's a water and it's an aqua, so you can use it to make Bahamut Shark into Toadally Awesome. You can use it for Kaleido Heart, and you know, it's just solid. But yeah, with that, that's the tier portion specifically, and now we can finally move on to the Lightsworn portion, being 3 Weiss Lightsworn Archfiend. It takes your Wolves, it takes your Felices, it stacks them on top, and then it mills them. And then you get to mill 1 additional bonus card. It's a level 4 tuner. If it's milled to the graveyard, you get to special summon any Lightsworn that's not Weiss. This card is just phenomenal in everything that it does. But it's the only 3 of that we're playing in this specific version. Now for the 2 of Lightsworns, we're playing 2 Dragonling. It's fine. I never really feel like you need the 3rd one, and there's a lot of situations where I don't even find myself needing the 2nd one, but it is a card that you want to have access to somewhat frequently, just because it is like essentially like a, not a 1 card, because you do need a Lightsworn monster in graveyard, but it does give you access to full combo by allowing you to send any tuner, namely Felis, to go into like the Minerva Synchro. Then the Minerva Synchro gives you access to Visas Amritara, and then from there you get to search out any tier spell or trap, and then as if that wasn't good enough, you get to mill 4 more cards, and then you get to mill Zombie Vampire to mill another 4 cards. And yeah, this card on its own, it completely gets the game out of hand for your opponent to try and win and like just beat your own board. So yeah, while it's not the main focus of the deck, it does help tremendously in what you're trying to do. Then for the other 2 of, I finally opted to go down to 2 Wolf. I just got tired of drawing the 3rd one because I'm a bad Yu-Gi-Oh player, so obviously I'm going to draw all 3. But it's fine, you know, Wolf is Wolf. That's the risk you take when you play one of these cards. And then for the final Lightsworn monster, you have 1 Felis. I still don't feel like you need to play more than 1 of this, just because it is able to get, or to be brought back pretty easily off the Weiss. And ideally you don't mill this off of like a Charge of the Light Brigade or your Tearlament Scream, just because it will not trigger. So just be aware, right? Because this card has to be milled by a monster. It cannot be milled by a spell or a trap if you want to bring it back with its own effect. So yeah, that's the Lightsworn portion. And then we do play a couple of other monsters. Now, I said at the beginning of this video that this deck is going to be post Rage of the Abyss, and as a result, you're going to see me do something I never do, and that is play hand traps. So we're going to be playing 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring in the main deck. This card, it's quite literally only there to help us stop Full Loss, just because we don't really have any other ways to do it, right? If our opponent decides to drop it because they have money or they pulled it or whatever, we straight up lose the game. We cannot play the game without committing to at least like 2 to 3 special summons from the extra deck. This isn't Master Duel where we can just go normal Reinoheart, make Kick Kolos, and pass, right? If we get hit by Fulos, we just auto lose the game. So in an attempt to combat that, we're going to be playing 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and hopefully it's enough. But I mean, you know, sometimes they just have the second copy and you lose anyways. But it's better to try something than just give up and lose immediately. And then for the one-ofs, I'm still playing the Bystial, so the 1 Bystial magnamhut and the 1 Bystial druiswurm, especially since post Rage of the Abyss Azamina is going to be a lot more popular, and that means the Fiendsmith engine is going to be a lot more popular. So these cards do become a little bit more effective, but they're also level 6 darks, so this deck has like a history of being able to abuse those types of things pretty easily. So yeah, I felt like they were pretty good to be included in the main deck. And then for the final monster, just the 1 Mudora, the Sword Oracle. It's fine. You don't want to play 2 Shufflers because if you go second, you just auto lose when you draw them, and you will be drawing them. But the reason why I play this over Keldo is just because it's a little bit stronger stat-wise. And yeah, you know, perfectly fine. And with that, that's the monster lineup. And now we can finally move on to the spell and trap portion. Compared to the monster lineup, the spell and trap portion is incredibly small, but even so, it's still filled with like a bunch of really good cards, and as a result, we're going to be playing 3 Primeval Planet Perlereino. On activation, it searches any tier card and boosts all your tiers and fusions by 500, and when a tier monster gets shuffled back into the deck, you get to pop a card. This card literally does everything. And then, for the only other 3 that we're playing in the deck, 3 Charge of the Light Brigade. I don't really know what to say. Like, the card is phenomenal, right? You mill 3 cards. Unfortunately, it's for cost, so it will not trigger any Tearlaments you mill or your Felis, because, you know, Felis needs to be sent by a monster. But being able to mill 3 cards and just search for any Lightsworn monster that you may need, whether it's Dragonling, Weiss, even Wulf or Felis, right? If you have a Weiss in your hand already, you can definitely make a case for adding one of those to your hand, just to be able to like full combo your opponent or whatever. But the consistency that it offers you is almost unmatched, and it's almost as good as Planet, but yeah, that mill 3 for cost does hurt in some situations when you hit all your tier cards. And then for the 2-ofs, we're just playing 1 2-of, being 2 Tearlaments Scream. So normally I play 3 of this, but because we have like so many Lightsworn monsters, I just didn't really want to like open up with those hands where you have your Scream but you don't have any tier cards, which does happen unfortunately sometimes. It's kind of like the nature of the beast where the tiers isn't the main focus, instead of it trying to like coexist more with like the Lightsworn stuff. But it's perfectly fine like this. And then for the 1-ofs, we play the 1 Tearlaments Grief, the 1 Call by the Grave, and the 1 Foolish Burial. And then that's it for the spell lineup. And then for the traps, we're just playing 2 Tearlaments sulliek. Nothing too crazy. We don't need Trivi Karma in this deck because we played Visas Amritara in the extra deck, and that pretty much functions the exact same way, but it means we don't have to play a brick. And with that, that's the spell and trap lineup, and now we can finally move on to the extra deck. Now, when it comes to the extra deck, when we're comparing it to builds of Tearlaments in the past, we actually have a lot of flex spots nowadays just because we lost Beatrice, we lost Baron, we lost Appaloosa, and as a result, there are some really like cool choices that you can make to help like fit your playstyle a little bit more. Now, you're not going to be really seeing anything too crazy in this version. It's going to be like more cookie cutter, but even so, like the choices are there. I just wanted to make you more aware of it. So we're going to be starting off with the Synchro monsters first. And as a result, we're playing the 1 Minerva Synchro. It's a potential mill 6, as on summon it mills, or you can send Lightsworn cards from your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of Lightsworn monsters used to Synchro summon it. And you're typically going to be making 2, or using up 2 Lightsworn monsters to make this, so that means you're going to have access to like another potential rank 4 or Synchro for 8. And its other effect is you can banish up to 4 Lightsworn monsters from your graveyard to mill 4 cards. So, you know, mill 6, pretty solid. And for the other Synchro that you're going to be making, it's Visas Amritara. This card, another phenomenal card, and it's like I said, the reason that we don't play Trivi Karma, as on summon it searches your deck for any spell or trap that mentions Visa Starfrost, and fortunately for us, every single Tearlament spell and trap, including Primeval Planet Perlereino, mentions Visa Starfrost. So yeah, this card kind of crazy. And then what you do with those 2 after you're done summoning them and using their effects is you link them off into the Zombie Vampire, who in turn allows you to mill 4 more cards from your deck and your opponent's deck, and then get a special summon a monster. The other effect, where it's like unaffected, honestly doesn't matter. We're just using it to mill 4, as it's typically going to be linked off after that resolves. And then for the other exceeds, we're playing the 1 Minerva, the Exalted Lightsworn. It mills 4. If you mill any Lightsworns, you get to draw cards equal to the number of Lightsworns you milled, and then if it's destroyed by like battle or card effect, you can mill 3 more, and then destroy your cards your opponent controls equal to the number of Lightsworns you milled. The cards, fine. If you are like on a really good day, you honestly don't even really need to make this all the time, And you can make an argument for playing like Dugaris over this, but you know, milling 3 is milling 3. So yeah, gotta do it. And then for the final Exceed monsters, we're playing the 1 Bahamut Shark, which is just used to make Toadally Awesome, which is going to be like one of our main end board pieces because it's an Omni Negate. For the links, we're playing the 1 IP Masquerena, which almost always goes into SP Little Knight, but we do have choices in the Sprite Sprint where you can make this during your opponent's turn to be able to just send Merrli and then make like a Kaleidoheart, or you could do that during your turn as well. You know, you don't have to use IP to make this. And then if you happen to have like an Exceed monster like Minerva, which, you know, more than often than not will happen, you can use your Sprite Sprint's effect to detach that material and bounce an opponent's monster. So we do get uses out of it. And then for the final link monster, I decided to go with 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World just because I don't really enjoy dealing with, you know, unaffected boss monsters, and this is going to be like the main out that we can use for that. And that's it for the links. And then for the fusions, the 1 Mudragon, the 1 Garura, Wings of Resonant Life, the 1 Predaplant, Dragos Tepelia. I call them super poly targets, even though we don't play super poly in the main anymore, but they're all incredibly easy to make. And they do come up pretty frequently, which is why I still include them to this day. And then for the final 2 fusions, the 1 Rule Kolos to help us beat Nibiru, and the 1 Kaleidoheart to help us break our opponent's board apart. And with that, that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!